Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
Oh no, Peter. Here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. But today is different, Peter. Today is different.
Yeah?
We're recording podcast number 400, man. Podcast episode 400.
Finally, an episode that's more than my age.
Oh! All right, here is today's title. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you are, Peter.
No, I'm not. I'm
I
lying.
don't think you are.
Well, I never know what you're going to talk about, so how can I be ready? Just go!
Here's the title, and if you could tell, I'm a little bit wound up today. So, is the Realtor looting lawsuit good for creative real estate rookies? Here's the description. Okay, rookies. Buckle up, because this week we're diving into a juicy topic that has everyone buzzing. Is the Realtor looting lawsuit actually good or bad for creative real estate rookies? There's been a new rumble in the jungle, Peter. A lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors, known as NAR. Claiming this group is performing racketeering, and these bullies might be the reason why you can't flourish and prosper with creative real estate in the last several years.
Ooh.
Which begs the question, has the typical dusty old rule book changed? In this rookie roundup, we will be chatting about the potential landscape ahead with the way we transact real estate deals. Then, add in all of the artificial intelligence, AI, baby, AI. And we have a really juicy topic. And quite frankly, if you don't stay up to date, it is possible you will fall into the sinkhole waiting to swallow up your real estate dreams. So hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and get ready to stare into a crystal ball with this new coming frontier with creative real estate. Let's explore it now.
Wow, this sounds like something right off the headlines.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All right, so let's just do some housekeeping first. I know it's boring for people that listen to us every single week. I apologize for that, but there are newcomers that don't know this. Every single week we record this podcast at 9:30 a.m. on Thursday mornings. I was thinking one of the changes that you and I have to talk about is maybe we stop doing it on Thursday and we start doing it on Saturday mornings, but we'll have to talk about that. In any event, for right now, we record Thursday mornings, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When we record, we live stream on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you go to any one of those platforms, you can type in Flipping Houses for Rookies. You can find us. If you have a question about the podcast, you can let us know inside of wherever you can type in one of those platforms. Or you can go to actually, we should put it on our website is what I should do, flippinghousesforrookies.com. But if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/podcast, or just go to Flipping Houses for Rookies, you can find all the podcasts that we record. All 400 of them, I believe, are there. At least 300, I know. I don't know about 400. I don't know if we have the beginning ones. But in any event, you can go there and listen to us. If you go in the search engine, you can type in whatever topic you want, because believe me, after 400 podcasts, we have talked about just about everything, more than once, in different ways. So there is a lot of education there, because each podcast is about an hour long. If you have a question for us that doesn't, if you put a question into the chat, wherever you're watching us, and it doesn't pertain to the podcast, I suggest I won't answer it, because I don't want to throw off our juju with the podcast. I want to stick to the topic. But you can do one of two things. You can go to WhatsApp Messenger. There's a group called Let's Talk Real Estate. It's got a bit over 100 people. That could be like your mastermind group, like Napoleon Hill says, and you could chat with others. Sometimes it's really active. Sometimes it goes weeks or a week or two without being active. It's a kind of unusual group, but it's people that are really interested in creative real estate. Or if you have a question for Peter and I, and it's a little bit more personal, or you want to know something about a deal or something like that that's more constructive, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right hand side is a button for support. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're watching or listening to us, and don't forget to like us and leave us a review. Whew. I always hate doing that, but we got to do it every week, Peter.
Well, it's over now.
Are you ready?
Yep. Go, man, go. 400. Here it is.
Let's start with the alarming news I got from a dear friend of mine on about, I think it was November 2nd or November 3rd of 2023. I had no idea. I happened to be in a conversation with him, and he installs radon, and he does it. Most of his biggest customer are realtors. Like when they're selling a property, they need a radon. So one of his customers, I think it was, said to him, "Did you hear about the lawsuit with NAR, the National Association of Realtors?" Right?
Yep.
And he's like, "No. What does that mean?" So he called me that night, and he's like, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? Somebody's reading you a book. Somebody's reading you a fiction book. That's not true."
It's a comic strip.
So yeah. So while I was talking to him, went on my computer, and sure as heck, there were a few articles, and I was blown away. I was reading them while I was on the phone with him. I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Now, why would I feel that way, Peter? What do you think? You know me pretty well. So why do you think I would feel that way?
Well, what did you say? What the lawsuit was? Because somebody might not know what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them in a minute. But you go ahead and tell me. Why do you think I would feel it? Why was I so shocked? You tell me. Well, if you don't know, that's fine. It's just.
I'll make something up like you do. No. Anyways,
why would I feel that way?
Well, you've personally been talking about the Realtors Association since 1949, whatever it is, that's been kind of put there, and it's like this kind of monopoly. Like, oh, you want a house, you have to go to them. Like they own the houses. Like you got to go to Home Depot to get a screwdriver.
Exactly.
What happened to Lowe's and Acme and the local hardware store? So it's like a monopoly, and it can be annoying. Like people think it's the only game in town. When it
I
isn't.
actually read that article, and it took me. I didn't know it when it was happening. But when I looked outside of it later, when I started telling the story, I was vindicated. I was like, I thought I was the only one that saw it, because it was like, I was resistive about talking about how I thought that the real estate system, not realtors, not brokers, those are people. I'm cool with that, right?
The system.
It's just the way the system was set up. Sam, thank you very much. Sam says, "Great content and channel Mr. Bill and Mr. Pete." You're very welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you found us. And I will not let you down today, Sam, because I am wound up about this left, right, and center, because this was on October 30th, 2023. The plaintiffs. So what is a plaintiff, Peter? Do you know? He froze. Did his video freeze, or am I frozen?
Are we back?
Okay, yeah. So I wasn't sure if you froze or me. So what is a plaintiff? Do you know what a plaintiff is in a lawsuit?
That's the guy who's making the charges, the accusations toward the defendant.
Towards the defendant, right. So the plaintiff in this lawsuit, what happens to be, it's between 250 and 260,000 homeowners. I just read an article yesterday. They're trying to say it was 500, but in that article, when I read in October 30th, it was 250 in one article, 260 in another article. Homeowners, so they're the plaintiff.
In one state.
Yes. It was in
Alabama?
No, it was in. I wrote it down here because I knew we were going to talk about it. Saint. What is it? Hang on one second.
Yeah, that's just one state, and there's 49
Yes.
others.
Kansas City, I think it was.
Kansas City,
I
okay.
think it was Kansas City. Yeah, I'll run across it. I put it in my notes here. But anyways, the plaintiffs, which are the 250,000 homeowners, they use the Realtor system, pointed out to the court that NAR had a rule that NAR is the National Association of Realtors. They're in charge of all the realtors. Right?
Yeah.
If they're a licensed realtor and they're using the word realtor, they own the rights to the word realtor. So if you say I'm a realtor, you're under NAR's cape.
Yeah, and you just can't say that. You have to be licensed, trained, and pay your dues and be part of the
Thousands
group.
every year, right? So the plaintiff points out that NAR had a rule that required sellers to make a non-negotiable commission offer before listing homes or property on the MLS, which feeds a widely amount of sites like Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com and all those.
Yep.
Okay, so to break it down, if the seller does not agree. Now, they had evidence for this. If the seller does not agree to the normal 5 or 6% commission, those MLS listings virtually are unseen. They're unseen.
So even if they get a realtor and it's like maybe 4% or 3% or anything but,
They're not seen on the MLS.
he thinks he's in, but he's not in. He's not there.
He doesn't get exposure to other realtors like the 5 or 6% commission does.
Man.
Right?
I hadn't heard that part of it.
Yeah, well, I dug into this because there's been some changes just in February. There's been some huge changes. Because I don't know where you are, Peter, but my kids, they, believe me, they bust my chops in this so bad, especially Emma.
Yeah.
Dad, why do you watch live TV? I pay $90 a month from Hulu to watch live TV. The answer is, as much as I find them annoying lately, because they're the same ones, but I like to watch the commercials. Because I'm a marketing guy. When I was a kid, my dad used to hate it because I would flip through the channels and look for the commercials, not the TV shows.
Hell, I record all the shows so I can fly through the commercials.
Exactly.
On the
My
opposite.
wife, too.
I'm not going to lose 20 minutes of my life every time I watch an hour show. Hell, I can watch 3 shows in the time of... Never mind.
I will admit that when I sit down and eat my lunch in the afternoon, which is sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But when I sit down and eat my lunch, and I eat my entire lunch during the commercials and never get to see the show, it is annoying. However, I will say that because I am like this, because I'm a marketing guy and I like to see the commercials, but like I said, lately it's a little bit boring because it's the same commercials, and the drug industry has taken over.
Oh, God. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
I keep, Mary, do we need Zimbalta?
Yeah.
Should we get Sky Rizzy? That sounds good. She keeps telling me no. Okay,
Yeah.
what are we watching this crap for? Fast forward, baby.
Here's my point in this long, drawn-out conversation here, is I, in the last month or 3 weeks, have never seen as many realtor commercials as I have seen in the last 3 weeks. And I'm talking about, because, I mean, I'm in Florida, so I see Florida TV, and then I'm still connected to Connecticut, so I see Connecticut TV. So I'm talking 1,400 or 1,500 miles away. They're different realtors, the same brand, but they're trying to combat this, and I'm going to come back to that, right? So in this lawsuit, on October 30th, 2024, the plaintiff then points out that other countries, like the UK, Singapore, Netherlands, Australia, and Belgium, just to name a few, only charge 1 to 3% commission on real estate transactions.
Wow.
The main defendants in this lawsuit, in other words, who they were suing, were Home Services, which is the parent company for Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, and Remax.
Those are big guys.
The lawsuit is about sharing commissions. They argue Americans paid over $85 billion in residential real estate commissions in 2020, and it's changed since then, according to the Department of Justice.
Ooh.
So why does the Department of Justice know that in 2020 there's $85 billion in commissions?
It's not a good reason.
Well, because they've been investigating them
Yeah.
for antitrust laws.
That's not good to them to know that.
By the way, this article only says that they were doing this for these, investigating for antitrust laws. The last article that I read, which was several months ago, said that this was done in the last three administrations, which is Biden, Trump, and Obama.
Whoa.
That's 15 years. They've been investigating them, right? There are also further allegations that NAR participates in websites like Redfin, Opendoor, Zillow, Realtor.com for purposes of keeping the comparables higher. Now, I couldn't find it yesterday, but when I read the original article in October, I think the company was called Value.com or Value something, right? So the argument was, which may not be true, so I might be just being a rumor monger right now, but I remember seeing it. I do know that this part is true, that they do participate in ownership of these websites. The reason why I know that is because these websites, now, as you're aware, I own a software company. It's called Creative REI Reply. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So this is not something that you should take lightly because even though I'm not the techie guy, I'm in meetings every week listening to these techie guys going, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Okay? So what it means is that these websites are using tools, which are called API links, right? If you're a computer guy, you'll know what that means. It doesn't matter. Just know that it's a link that goes between the website and the multiple listing service, which is the MLS.
Yeah, it connects to different websites.
It allows the two websites to talk to one another. It's a two-way communication. A lot of websites will have a one-way communication, but an API means you have a two-way communication. So you can receive information and get information, right? So these websites have been keeping the market up, and the plaintiffs are trying to prove this. Now, I think it's a bit odd, and maybe I'm just being a weirdo, but, well, anyways, let me move on. Because I'll get to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. This was October 30th, 2023.
Right.
I heard about it on November 2nd or November 3rd. I don't remember. It was one of those days. It was like 2 or 3 days after when my friend told me this, right? Mm-hmm. Since then, NAR is providing information on their website saying they settled for $418 million.
Okay.
And that will be paid out over the next 4 years.
Does that go to the homeowners?
Well, it must because they're the plaintiffs.
Yeah, I heard that people could ask for some money back from the commissions and something like that. So that'd be good if the people harmed could get it instead of going into some government coffer. So hope so.
So let me see here. I'm going to go right. I had it open this morning or yesterday. Maybe I closed it.
Yeah, it's still interesting to me that that's only one state. And even though it's a national institution,
Right.
Apparently, you have to do state by state, at least for a while, because if you do enough states, it could go federal. It's possible.
So here we go. So this is on NAR's, National Association of Realtors. You can go look this up. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to read a part of it. So the headline is National Association of Realtors reaches agreement to resolve nationwide claims brought by the home sellers. Now it says nationwide. I don't believe it's nationwide. Chicago, March 15th, 2024. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, today announces an agreement that would end litigation of claims brought on behalf of home sellers related to broker commissions. This is my point. The agreement would resolve claims against NAR over 1 million NAR members. All state, territorial, and local realtors associations, all association-owned MLSs, and all brokers with a NAR membership as principal that had a residential transaction volume in 2022 of $2 million or below. See, it's very specific. This is for a reason. This is very trickery, right? The settlement, which is subject to court approval, makes clear that NAR continues to deny any wrongdoing in connection with the multiple listing service MLS cooperating compensation model rule, MLS model rule, that was introduced in the 1990s. In response to calls from consumer protection advocates for buyer representation, under the terms of the agreement, NAR would pay $418 million over approximately 4 years. So I think this is kind of cute what they're doing. The reason why they're putting that on their website is, let me get back to you, is because of this. This is my opinion. This is just an opinion. Please take it just as opinion. I'm not saying that this is true, but the light is pretty bright. Keller Williams, since the lawsuit, said they will no longer require nearly 200,000 agents they have as Keller Williams agents to hold membership in NAR.
Ooh. Oh.
Remax, remember, these were the ones named in the lawsuit. Remax, which has more than 140,000 agents, will also abandon NAR.
Wow.
Anywhere Real Estate, which is Berkshire Hathaway, right, has about 340,000 agents that no longer will pay membership fees after the legal settlements.
Oh, boy.
Add that up, Peter, and that's just about 700,000 realtors that no longer have to pay NAR their fees or be part of NAR.
And is that the original association from 1949? That's
what?
The National Association of Realtors. That's the actual group that goes all the way back there.
Yeah. So let me back up now. So I just told you. What did I just tell you? Almost 700,000 will no longer be part of NAR, and they're high and mighty MLS. So let me read the last sentence I read to you again, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the last sentence. Let me find it here. Hang on one second. They said, well, I'm going to just tell you because I can't find it. It said it had 1 million members, right? Right. The agreement would be resolve claims against NAR over 1 million NAR members. So,
boy, if 700,000 stop paying, they're going
I
to
don't know that they're all going to stop paying. These companies are just saying they're no longer required to. So I'm not saying that all of them are going to stop paying. I don't know why they wouldn't. Because
why would they?
It's several thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah, what would they pay if they don't have to? What are they getting for it?
So now, if you think, I'm just giving you the highlights, right? I'm just giving you the highlights. I'm not an attorney. I'm just reading articles online, just like anybody else that's listening to me can. I'm just summarizing them. Mm-hmm. But here we go. This is what happens on Planet Bill, a.k.a. in my head. Mm-hmm. You ready?
Go for it.
This begs the question, how many houses will be on the MLS for buyers and sellers to see? If the MLS is the catalyst, aka the place to get information for Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever else they're involved with, Trulia, all those other companies, and they are technically controlling the market with those because NAR has participation in those websites to keep the commissions high so they can get paid more money. I'm sorry, to keep the prices high so they can get higher commissions. Right? So if that's the case, and now all of a sudden there's no houses on the MLS, what's going to happen?
Well, how would people find it? Because if they don't belong to the National Association, they don't list on the MLS. Is it controlled by them, or is it separate?
I don't understand your question.
Well, how do you get on the MLS? Do you have to belong to NAR?
Yes.
Because I've listed online. I don't know if I'm on the MLS, but I'm online at least. So you can get online somehow, but not part of MLS. Just go online.
All right, man, let me make it real simple for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
How are they going to advertise the houses?
If NAR is not going to be able to influence the market, what's going to happen to the market?
Well, it might become more natural and adjust itself, not be manipulated, not be artificially held high. Maybe the prices will get realistic.
Let's just say that Bill is being like, what's the word? Hyperbole? Is that the word? How do you say it?
How about you being hyperbolic?
Hyperbolic. Okay, good.
Which means a little exaggerated, a little excited.
Let's just say that I'm being that way.
Let's be a little dramatic about it.
Let's just say I'm being dramatic.
Okay.
Because I'm saying all of it's going to happen, which I fully believe. Let's just say it's 10% or 20% or 30%. I could tell you personally in my own survey, which is in Connecticut, speaking to lawyers and other realtors, right, in my little circle, I recognize and announce to you guys listening to me or to my rookies that I felt that almost 40% of the market in 2022, 23, and 24 were being transacted without a realtor. 35 to 40% has been my claim, and I stand to that. I know because I asked my lawyer, how many closings are you doing with buyers and sellers and no realtors? He goes, I didn't think about it, but oh my God. And he came back with a number of like 40%.
Yep.
Actually, he said between 35 and 40%. Right?
Yeah.
Then I start asking around, and I find, he's not the only one. Okay?
Yeah.
All the stories, all the news stories, all the crap flying around. There's no houses. There's a shortage of houses. Right? Until we had a problem with our border, which is another topic. Yeah. Until we had a problem with our border, it's not like there were more people fleeing into the country. I mean, there is now. I don't think that those people are going to be buying houses. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, right? But the point is that what was happening is that because 35 or 40% of the market was doing transactions without the realtor, these 35 or 40% of the properties, right, were not being put on the MLS. Let me do something here.
Yeah. So go ahead. So you look, I'll talk. So the realtors are saying there aren't many houses because they don't have them in their own purview, in their own domain, because they're being sold separately from them, so they don't see that part. So, I mean, originally you said that once upon a time, who would sell the house? Some guy in town who knew everybody. You need a house? Go talk to Jimmy Miller. He knows everybody. And then that became a realtor system, so you could go find somebody who could know where the houses are. Now you go online and just plug in houses for sale by owner, MLS. You can see everything. So you need, just technology made it so you don't need realtors as much because you can see the houses. Although people kind of knee-jerk reaction, just hire one because they think they'll take care of everything.
Exactly. Now, I'm just going by what I'm reading, okay? So my rookies you can type the same thing I did. I will give you the exact words and you could go look at this. So I went to Google and said, how many houses were sold in 2023? Mm-hmm. And it came up January 19, 2024.
Okay.
When was it?
January 19, 2024.
When is that? Not very long ago, right?
No, 3 months. Is that for the whole country?
Existing home sales dropped to their lowest level in nearly 30 years in 2023. According to a report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, released on Friday, in 2023, 4.09 million existing homes were sold, the fewest since 1995. Now, if you take 4 million houses that were sold in 2023, right? Mm-hmm. And you do 40% of that, that's 1.6 million houses that were not done through the Realtor system. So now, I got to tell you, Peter, this is where I'm like outside of my skin right now. Because you know what that means? Tell me what you think that means.
Well, what I think that means is that people are not using realtors as much as they used to, as much as some people think that's what you do. They're not. I see for sale by owner all the time. That's who I talk to a lot of the times, or expired listings. I looked at my town right next to me. In February, there were 111 houses for sale. Only 40 of them sold. And most of those might have tried the Realtor. Now what are they going to do? They're going to do there's 70 houses that didn't sell. Now what do they do?
Exactly. So let's rewind. Go back to the question. 1.6 million people in this country are looking for us. They don't know how to do it themselves. And they're looking for someone like us. Mm-hmm. So, just to be clear, and in your face, New York style, if you're not doing deals, it's because you're not trying. You're doing something wrong. There is some reason, something in your system, some pattern, the way. We went through this the other night on a coaching call. Actually, I was on a coaching call Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
With Joe. And we went through this, which I'm going to talk to you after this call because I got some ideas. We went through this on a call because Dan Kennedy, the great marketing guru, okay, says there's you to make sales, to slam dunk it, to crush it. My words, not his. To have your marketing crush. In other words, make a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Because the purpose of marketing is to get people in touch with you so you can convert them into sales, right?
Right.
The purpose of marketing is not to close them. It's to get them to contact you. And then you put them through your process, which is why Russell Brunson ClickFunnels is such a big deal, because once you get your marketing to the funnel, the website, a funnel is a series of web pages that will show you that does the sales for you. You don't have to manually do each sale. The funnel does the sales.
Click here.
Okay. So Dan Kennedy says it takes 3 ways to crush it. You need message, market, media. Message is the same. We'll buy your house. The market's the same. People that want to sell a house. What's changed is the media. And I announced several podcasts ago that in 2023, the largest group of people that are buying properties are millennials. 55% of the market are millennials. Mm-hmm. So I guess when Grant Cardone yelled and screamed on the Bigger Pockets podcast that millennials don't want to own anything and real estate is dead, he mispredicted. Because I believed him for a long time.
Well, they might have been in that position, because I know some of these youngsters, and you do too. They think they don't want the responsibilities, too much a hassle. Then they grow up a little bit. My son finally got his first house this past year, because one crappy apartment to the next, a townhouse that you get thrown out from because it got sold. It's annoying to just be kicked around. So eventually, they just might change their mind. But here we are. They're buying houses.
So what do you know about millennials? Name 3 quick things that you know about millennials. 3 things, quickly.
They don't like to talk to people directly.
Yep.
They buy things just online indirectly.
Yep.
That's all I know.
Okay. And the third one is that they want to control the cycle. They're like not in fear, but they don't want to be pushed around.
Right.
Right? So
like me with the solar guy yesterday. No, I'm not making an appointment. Go away.
right. So
he was good, but no.
My point is this: does that change the media? So we have the message, we have the market. Does that change the media? You bet your booties it does.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I'm going to come back to that.
Okay.
The most amount of money is made in chaos.
Yeah.
And right now in real estate, this is pure chaos in the real estate industry. This is the most chaos that we could absolutely make.
Yeah.
Let me recall your memory. General Motors several years ago going bankrupt. Chrysler Automotive going bankrupt. It was so bad that the government felt compelled that if they didn't bail them out, that they would crash the economy. I don't think the government's paying attention right now because they're too busy infighting. Right? There's too much incest and infighting right now, and they're all worried about Mr. Trump exposing them all, so they're attacking him left, right, and center. And I don't think it's necessarily Mr. Trump. I think it's who's behind him, because he's not alone. There's no way that somebody could take all that suppression and still keep standing, being alone, right? And I'm not even saying that I like him or dislike him or anything. It's just an obvious observation. Right? And if you don't think that, then you should watch more than CNN or CBS. You should go online and you should check out some other information, right?
Yep.
So here's my question. We actually did a podcast on this some time ago. I don't have the podcast number. I should have looked it up, but I was being lazy. Are we creative real estate investors? Hell, I'll even say just real estate investors.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to fill in these vacuums if NAR goes down. Are we ready to start seeking out all those sellers who either don't want to use a realtor or don't want to be involved with this whole lawsuit thing or the skullduggery of it, right?
Yep.
Maybe now that it's kind of like going back to what I said. I said, regardless of what you think of the man, and I'm not either way, to be honest with you. I've given up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump did one thing for this country, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He revealed the swamp. He brought to light things that we never knew as Americans. And it wasn't necessarily him, but by him pushing on things, they flared up, and that's what happened. Right?
Yep. Yep.
So this is what's happening with this NAR lawsuit. It's revealing things that we didn't know. Like, for example, there was a rule or a policy in place that there was no negotiable fees. Right? Or just can't sell because the realtor, or maybe these people don't want to be part of that. They don't want to be bullied around like 6%, 5%. They don't even want to negotiate because some people are like that, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just don't want, they're just not happy with the way the realtor is going to perform because, as we just spoke about, the realtor is going to have trouble performing because the first problem the Realtor Association has is what their real job is. Their job is to just find a buyer. They know that, but they do a shitty job of telling their people that sign a listing contract with them, that's all I'm here for. I'm just here to find you a buyer. I'm not here to consult you. I'm not here to get you through the deals. But they do, the smart ones do it because they want to get their commissions.
Yep.
Right? Then on top of all this chaos, we have artificial intelligence. AI. I watched a video the other day on Twitter, known as X now, that was given to me by my coach about something called O1 Lite. This is a voice interface with any computer anywhere with no Wi-Fi. It's a round disc that's about 2 inches and it's about a half an inch thick, and you push into it and talk, and it controls your computer. You say to your computer, or tell me if Peter emailed me today. And it will go off and it will do the task and it'll tell me, yes, Peter sent you 2 emails, one at 10:45 and one at 8:45.
Whoa. And this is, you said not Wi-Fi connected. This is just internal in the computer. So it's not searching for answers on the intranet. It's just checking your own data, and it's this little gizmo.
It's on. It's so you can. It's in your computer. I don't know how it works because I'm not even going to try it. But you can train. They show in the video. And if you want to see this, just send me a support ticket, and I'll send you the link so I don't have to explain it all because I only saw this video. That's all I saw, right? You can train this thing to do your work. He shows in the video how to set up Slack messages because the program doesn't know anything about Slack. Slack is like a social, like a platform that you can communicate with. It's kind of like WhatsApp and those kind of apps. It was around way before WhatsApp was around, right? And a lot of businesses use Slack because you got team members and all that stuff in there, right? So he trains it how to use Slack right on the video. Once it's trained how to do that, you just set it up as like a job or whatever, and you just tell it to do, go to Slack and do what I taught you. And it just automatically just bing, 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 bing. It's as if there's a robot sitting behind your computer doing your work for you.
Jeez, you don't have to get out of bed anymore. Ouch.
That's AI. I saw a movie a couple months ago, we'll say Christmas time, called iRobot.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were going to say. Yeah.
I saw that, and it was set in 2035, the year 2035, and I thought, we're going to beat that. I thought, wow, that's like 10 years, 11 years from now. Is that really possible? And I thought, now I went from, is that really possible? When I see things like this, like, not only is it really possible, but it's doable. Now, here's the thing. Now, the government may get involved because they're afraid of robots.
Yeah,
right?
they've seen the Terminator movies. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the technology is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what's my point today? Because I'm just babbling on, right? What's my point? I really, 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 really wholeheartedly believe and think any creative real estate rookie can make a killing these days by just being human and talking to humans. Plus, after COVID and the price inflations for the past few years, make it even easier for us to do deals. Let me explain what I think inflation is.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation is too much money, not enough products.
That's the technical economics 101 definition. That's correct.
That means that there is one house for sale and 20 buyers. What happens to the price of that house?
Well, they fight over it. Like the
And it
last
goes
hamburger,
way up.
Yeah.
AKA inflation.
Yep.
And they go to another house and there's 20 buyers or 19 buyers
And you're still
in
fighting.
one house. And we're still fighting. And at the end of the day, what happens to all the prices of houses?
Yeah, it can only go up.
So let's take a look at 2020, March, I think 19th of 2020. And let's see what happened to America. There's this thing called COVID-19, and you need to stay home and isolate.
Yeah, do not talk to people. Don't get near people. Don't touch people.
So how do you get America to do that? By start reporting how many deaths occurred from COVID. So you scare the living crap out of America, which was all, I mean, true or not true, it doesn't matter. You start reporting there were 200,000 deaths this week from COVID. But yet, when I'm at my sister's house in Florida during COVID, she tells me that she gets a phone call from her friend, and her friend's brother or cousin or something dies in a motorcycle accident, and they put on his death certificate COVID. A few days later, just coincidentally, I'm talking to somebody, and they're like, oh, yeah, my father-in-law had a heart attack, and they put on his death certificate COVID.
I was there. I heard the same exact thing.
By the time I got done over about a 10-day or 3-week period, I've heard 3 or 4 of these incidences to find out that, oh yeah, by the way, if the hospital reports a death from COVID, they pay them.
More money.
So I start to wonder about how many people are really dying from COVID. Not that there wasn't a lot. There was more than there needed to be. And believe me, I laid in ICU in an intensive care for 14 days or 16 days. I don't remember what it was. And I never thought I was coming home. I thought I died.
Yeah.
I had COVID pneumonia. It took me 4 months to recover. I did not work for 3 months. You were there. You saw. I was isolated.
Yep.
I was sick as a dog. Believe me, I know how this happened. Here's my point. You tell America to stay home in their house. They stop building couches and cars and radios and TVs and computers and phones. They're not working. There's no production. And the government's idea is, well, let's print some more money. And they put $10 trillion into the economy.
Yep.
What does that do? That makes inflation. Too much money, not enough products. Oh, well, I'm getting my sister, which I didn't know until I went to visit her the other day. I didn't know this. I knew she was getting money, but I had no idea how much. Like $600 a week plus $1,200 for this, $800 for that. She was making more money than me sitting next to me on the couch, and I had no idea. She's like, oh, yeah, I paid off all my bills. I did this, I did that, I did this. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that because I wouldn't ask her. In the meantime, I'm giving her money because I'm living there. Right? She was making out like a bandit, right? So what happens at the heels of this is as 2022 and 23 go on, now because the MLS doesn't have houses, so Sam is asking, is there any directory to look up y'all credentials with
What's
a
COA?
I don't know, for qualifications in the real estate industry? I'm not sure of your question, Sam, so you'll have to retype it so I can understand it. I'm sorry.
We don't know COA.
So I think what he's looking for is a list of realtors. If that's the case, then you could do that in any county, like in Connecticut. Or in Connecticut, you can call because they're licensed. You can call and get a list of realtors because they're licensed and they pay the state for the license. But I might be wrong. Anyways, so let me carry on because I'm kind of dragging on here. So the point that I'm trying to make is that prices start elevating. Right? Certificate of authenticity, meaning you are licensed. Yeah, you all. So, yes, in Connecticut they are. I don't know that there's a directory nationwide, but there is one in each state. If they're licensed with the state and the state is collecting money from them, you can call them up. It's public information, and you can get that information from them. I've done it. And then you put them in Skip Tracer, Skip Trace Butler, and you skip trace them and get all their phone numbers. Yeah. All right, so the prices of houses elevate, right?
Yep.
So people are paying $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 over asking price because remember, inflation's happening. Too much money, not enough houses, right? And we talked about that earlier, right? So now it's far enough along where those people are like, I got a job transfer, I got to move, I got to sell this house.
Yep.
I got a divorce, I got to move, I got to sell this house. You know what, this house is too big, I don't like it, I want to move.
Yep.
My daughter's going to college, I'm going to move. All these types of things are happening, and these houses are overpriced. So we're getting those deals, which is why, and I'm not going to talk about it now, which is why we, meaning you and I, created the Grand Slam offer. That's how you can buy these houses right now with a slot deal. And if you go back in some podcasts, especially last week or the week before, if you just go through podcast number 395 to 400, you will find that link. It's called the Accelerator. If you go to the Accelerator link that we gave you, you can get all these documents and learn how to do it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I mean, Peter. I'm going to run down a list, right?
Yeah.
During COVID, prices skyrocketed. I just talked about that. These are all reasons why creative real estate investors are like, this is the best time ever. It's like the perfect storm. Right? So, COVID prices scored, they skyrocketed. Because of inflation, there's too much money, which I just explained, right? What's the realtor going to do about that? First of all, what are they going to do if they were on their regular system? And then take the fact that they don't have as many people looking at their MLS now. There's a scarcity on the MLS. Right? And then you put this lawsuit that has discredited them. Right?
And what people are already annoyed with them because how many people do we talk to with a horror story about the last time they tried a realtor or their sister, and they were just really disgusted with it. Doesn't mean that the realtors are all bad, but some just are not trained very well and don't help enough, and whatever, and they get annoyed. 6 months. I talked to a guy yesterday, 2 weeks ago. Emptied his house out that he was renting, threw everybody out, left it vacant for 4 months to sell it, lost $12,000, and didn't sell it. How do you think he feels about it?
And the realtor told him to do that.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, oh, yeah, we'll sell it. Yeah, it's better if you have people out, we'll sell it faster. And then they don't sell it. What do they got to lose? They don't even put a $100 option fee down on it. Zilch, nothing.
Remember the house in New London that we almost bought? We almost bought in New London because the realtor went in the house and went down in the basement and showed the basement because it was a finished basement. And when they came back up, they shut the lights off, so they thought, and found out they shut the furnace off. The house froze.
And the ice went down the hill into the street.
But the owner was out of state. The house froze. It got warm. The pipes broke. 40,000 gallons of water went out because it was on the front wall. It went down the hill, across the street. And it was because the firemen were called because the ice on the street, somebody was bitching about the ice in the street, and the firemen traced it back to the house to find out that happened. And the realtor walked away because a lawyer was like, well, you can't prove the realtor was there and shut the switch off, can you? And they walked away. Nothing happened.
Yep.
All right, let's carry on with my list. So inflation. Then sellers and buyers start doing deals without realtors during the pandemic, right? So this is just a list of all the things we talked about. So first, COVID prices, they went up, right? Yep. Because of inflation, they're too much money, so they're going to have trouble selling those houses now. Then sellers and buyers start doing deals without realtors since the pandemic. Mm-hmm. The realtor squawks, there's no houses, right? And there's a building shortage. That rumor was around for a while. Well, since 1950, the building industry and the population don't match. I heard that about 15 times. Right? NAR gets sued, and the big players drop NAR and their fees, which means that includes the MLS. Next, the realtor will be known. Next, the realtor will not know where to find their buyers, which is the most important part of the podcast, as far as I'm concerned. Puts them on the same playing field as us.
Wow. Say that one more time.
So the realtors do not, if all these realtors are not going to use NAR in the MLS, right? Where are they going to post these houses for sale?
Yeah, that's what I was asking before. So now what happens? So they don't have the MLS.
What's going to happen is it's going to put them on the same playing field as us.
Wow.
Mortgage interest rates are 7 to 8% right now. Mm-hmm. Right? So what does that do? That makes less people qualify, number one. Number two, what happens is if you because the way mortgage payments are designed or created is by how much money you have down and how much money you can pay monthly. Which, by the way, is exactly how we sell our houses, because they never ask how much the price of the house is. They always ask how much down and how much a month. It's exactly the same way, except in the mortgage industry, what happens is if your payment, if you can afford to pay, say, $1,500, And at 3% money, that gets you a $200,000 house because you can afford to pay $1,500, and that means you get a mortgage for $200,000.
Yep.
Now, if you add 8%, that mortgage payment is no longer going to be $1,500; it's going to be $1,900 or $2,000 or $2,100 because the interest rate.
So you can't buy that house now.
So that $200,000 house means you don't qualify. You got to buy lesser of a house. So let's say it's a $160,000 house.
Yeah.
Right? So now what happens to the offers? They're not going to be $200,000. It's going to be less money, right?
Yep.
So we talked about inflation. What's deflation?
Would be the opposite formula. Either not enough money in the system, which isn't the case because they're always pumping it in and using credit, but there could be more houses.
So inflation, I said, is too much money, not enough products. So it's too much money, not enough houses. Deflation is too many houses, not enough money. And I think that's where we're at right now.
Well, there is a huge amount of apartments being built so that at least people who might be looking for houses give up and just go there. So there will be less people looking for houses because they're in an apartment because they can't afford the house.
Okay, let me drop a completely bizarre, out of this world, from the stars and beyond concept.
Okay.
What if robots really do come and start taking our jobs?
Yeah.
How do we pay for our houses? How do we get money? Not saying that's happening, but if you kind of look at it, it's science fiction, I understand. But if we have these little buttons that we can push that does our job, like I told you, AO1, whatever it is, that I talked about earlier. I read the other day that there's a prediction that by 2025, 300 million jobs will be lost to OpenAI.
Wait, that's the entire population of this country.
That's what they said.
Well,
they're talking worldwide. They're not just talking this country.
Worldwide would make more sense because not everybody works. Yeah, but then we'll have to get jobs making the AI things. I mean, it's, every time there's some automation that takes a job away, the new job becomes making the automation thing,
So for your example, when we had cars, because I know cars, like when we had carburetors and they became extinct, you went from building a carburetor to making a fuel injector. I get your point. Yeah. I'm not a doom and gloom guy. You know that I'm not a doom and gloom guy, but I got to consider it.
These are the thing is to me that these are opportunities to find what you do instead. That's the point.
Which
it's
is
not
the
like we're all going to die.
reason why
what
we
do you
built,
do when?
This is the exact reason why we built Creative REI Reply, because we are the first company on the planet that I know of that automates Creative REI Reply. It does 90% of the work for you. We have robots that do it. John Patterson said there's money in robot management. That's good, John. All right. So, here we go. Rent to own. Here we go. Owner financing. Here we go. Subject to. Here we go. Agreements for deeds. The greedy will humble. The unprofessional or untrained real estate person has been making profit off of appreciation and inflation for the last 3 years. What do they do in a down or sluggish paced market? See, they're just like, oh, I'll put up $200,000 and get back $250,000 in 6 months because the house appreciated because the market just allowed me to do that. Are you trained? Are you ready to deal with a bullish market? Are you ready to be clever on how you're going to sell your houses when you buy them? Those that did not learn how to do deals without money will perish. Point blank. Those that didn't learn how to do deals without money. We used to say all the time, we haven't talked about it in years, Peter. If you don't know how to do deals without money, you'll never know how to do deals with money.
Yeah, one of the problems with our society, our country, our government right now is that they solve problems by throwing money at it. They don't fix the problem. They just print more and just throw it out there instead of fixing what actually needs to be done. So if you can't do it by fixing the problem, money eventually won't solve the problem anymore.
Right. And if you are one of those people, because I know my listeners, because they communicate to me, and if you're one of those people that are skeptic and asking yourself, well, if the market goes down, Bill, how are we going to sell the houses? My answer is this: without banks. Without banks. Banks make the rules. The old saying, the guy with the gold makes the rules. So if you're sellers, if we start talking to more motivated sellers, which you know, Peter, we're doing that. I'm hearing it on my coaching groups. I get on the Creative REI Reply coaching call on Thursday nights that we do for an hour every Thursday night. When you're a member of the software, I help you do your deals every Thursday night.
Yep.
There have been nights where it's been 2 hours, which I had to stop. Hour and 50 minutes was the most I did because there were so many deals in the call. People had their hands up on the Zoom call. You know how you put your hand up, right? On the Zoom call. It took me almost 2 hours to handle all the deals from the people in Creative REI Reply that had deals. I had to stop it. I had to bring it back to an hour because, I mean, that's what my private coaching group is for, is to help you hold your hand and do deals. Mm-hmm. Right? It's changing. It's here. Just look at the perfect storm I've just given you. Right? We yet again, and I don't have time to talk about this, but we yet again will change the strategies we're using to buy and sell properties, which is why I have 7 core strategies. It's not because you have 7 choices, which you could use it that way. That's the novice way of using the 7 strategies. The real reason is I've been using creative real estate so long that these 7 strategies go in and out of economies. You know, like you used to say all the time, we never used the option, just a plain old option.
Yeah, didn't see it for years. He said, that only happens once in a while, and so I just dropped it. But then a couple of years ago, it was big.
So when you're on the phone and every person's telling you, well, I want a cash buyer, I want a cash buyer, I want a cash buyer. Well, that's how we would do it.
Yeah.
Is through an option. And we started making those offers and started doing those deals. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us, creative real estate has been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years. It went back to the Roman times. Trusts, property trusts, were created in the Roman times. They were brought back in the early 1900s from Chicago skyscraper builders. Mm-hmm. But a property trust that we use with a subject to deal was created 2,000 years ago. Land trust, land contracts were created hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And we're using them in creative real estate. Rental property. How long do you think rental property's been around? I'll rent your ranch. Yeah. I'll raise my cattle on your ranch and pay your rent.
Well, to me, it's just these are things that people came up with as solutions to their situation. Like, well, I don't have money for it, but I'll do this. It's just people coming up with an idea, and then it becomes accepted, or other people do it too.
Right.
What does creative mean? You come up with something. It's not like there's a book with you're allowed to do this or that. Like, look, I'll buy your car, but I'll give you $50 a week, okay? Right. Well, why? Well, okay, I'll give you some extra. Okay, fine. Whatever it is. So things have been created, but the Realtor system was something that was not naturally created. It was just rigged up, and it works fine for some things. But look at the trouble it's having now.
My final message. The only reason why creative real estate took a stumble is because the seller had a choice of getting cash quickly, because there was $10 trillion in the economy.
Yeah.
That $10 trillion did not fix the economy, it made it worse. And now we're on the bumped end of that, and now it's time for you to get clever and outflow like a banshee and find creative real estate sellers and retire early and become rich as hell. Maybe it's not today, but it's definitely on the horizon. It is definitely before the end of this year. My final message. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for all your support. Listening to us, not just me. Thank you for all your support. If you have any questions, again, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Also, you'll find on that site 25 or 26 free tools you can use for creative real estate. There's a bunch of videos, there's courses, online courses, email courses, a lot of stuff you can get there. So go check it out. And make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us or hearing us. Make sure you like us. Make sure you leave us a review. And if you would like to join our WhatsApp Messenger group, just go to WhatsApp Messenger, type in Let's Talk Real Estate, and you could get part of that group. And you can start a conversation there. It's sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's quiet, and then somebody puts in some conversation in there, and all of a sudden it'll go for days. So
go ask a question, see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so over and out. We will meet again at episode number 401. Yay! Have a good week, guys. Flourish and prosper.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.